This is my December trading recap. I'm Manir, also known as Ghostwalk Trades on Twitter, and I also run an agency called Unbiased Trading where we can backtest or automate your trading strategies. Now, I've recorded a recap primarily for I think about the past year and a half, maybe even 2 years. So if you have watched any of the previous ones, you'll be well kind of situated, but these are a bit more rambly. It's mainly me going over my performance. Now, obviously, I hope I can share some value that you can benefit your own trading from, but primarily these are just for me to go through my overall performance over the month and also be transparent about it. By no means am I saying these are average results or these are results you can obtain really easily. This is my progress over the past 5 years, almost working towards 6 years now of trading. So primarily I trade in two different ways. I have my small cap trading, which is really anything below $1 billion market cap, and this is normally shorting gappers. I've been doing this ever since I really started trading, so about 5 years, and at least for the past 3 or so months, I have been tuning this down a bit. The primarily reason why is I haven't fully automated my small cap trading. Now, I do know how. We've created algos for other traders on the DAS platforms or even interactive brokers if they really wanted it for like the long side. However, at least for me, personally, I haven't been able to kind of perfect the weighing system of some variables with small cap trading. I've always done 95% systematic, and then I've left 5% of discretion for weighing in news or general sentiment, such as when we had the oil run, seems like yesterday, but it's actually quite a while ago, and things like that. However, I probably will pick up small cap trading again. However, at least for this past month, I really haven't taken any trades. I've taken two trades here, and just to be transparent, I at least wanted to show you those. But primarily, I've been focused on my algorithmic trading, which has been in futures and now also in crypto. And those have been where a lot of the returns have come from. So that's just where I've been dedicating my focus. But as you can see, this is from my small cap trading. I took two trades, made $2,983. Definitely nothing crazy. And primarily, I wouldn't really take any opinion or basis from this. It was just two trades, so it's not really any sample. Now, for my futures algorithmic trading, this month was just insane. It was, I will say, made up primarily of one huge day. Ever since that huge day, it's primarily just been chopping around. But as you can see, before December 18th, I was up around 10%. And then it was December 18th, NQ market and a couple other markets just completely faded. And I was very lucky. Around six of my strategies were allocated short, and they picked up on that day. And, it was basically a 10% profit for the month, all the way to around 34%. So it's just absolutely insane month. This was extremely, in some sense, it was just extremely lucky timing. Obviously, I created the strategies, and obviously they do trend following, short side as well. But I never could have predicted this month would be that, especially because it was just primarily one day that made up a lot of the returns. Now, as we can see, 10 strategies were running this month. They're all algorithmic, all run on the NinjaTrader platform, and primarily a lot of them are on VPS, which means like virtual private servers. I've blurred out the names just because I set actual names around what the strategies do, just so I can remember and it's easier to document. But obviously, I don't want to reveal all that, so I've kind of just blurred them out, at least for here. We can see the overall returns were 37.99%, and I had a drawdown of about 9%. Now, a couple things to keep in mind here is futures has a lot of leverage. So this is based on my actual account balance and not on notional value. If this was on notional value, this would probably be a 6% return, give or take. But obviously in futures, that's the benefit of doing algorithmic futures is you have amazing leverage. Additionally, I'm not running a huge portfolio. This isn't, seven figures or anything like that. It is in the six figures ballpark, but, primarily I can get away with taking 1 to 2 minis on a lot of these strategies, and I never really take more than that. We can see overall the profits were decently well distributed. Obviously, we had one strategy that was minus 2.4%, and then we had a couple that were basically break even. But we did have a good allocation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strategies that had above 5% returns, which I think is quite significant, at least for a month. So I'm pretty happy with how well kind of diverse it has been. For drawdown, I think 9% for this sort of return completely I'm happy with. The volatility side of things has obviously picked that up to about 9%, but I've had worse drawdown months before, so to be honest, this wasn't too big of a struggle. Overall trades, I had 498. Now, as you kind of know, if you've watched any of my previous ones, I do prefer to try and keep my trade count down, just because trades can always eat into any profits because of, transaction costs and also slippage. So I do try and keep those low, but I think this was quite well diversified out. We had one, obviously, strategy that's more intraday, take 169 trades, whereas all the others are below 100, so I'm pretty happy with it overall. Profit factor, 1.33, great as well. But overall, the main things I'm looking at is basically net profit drawdown, and then also the drawdown to net profit, which is about 4.1 ratio-wise. So that's actually pretty good. For correlation, so this is the correlation of my profit and loss across all 10 strategies that we're running this month. And we can see for the most part, it's pretty uncorrelated. Now, there are a couple of times where they are pretty correlated, and that was primarily one day, which was December 18th, and then there was a couple of other days as well. I'm going to obviously keep on trying to improve that to, get this correlation down even lower. But for right now, I'm pretty happy with this, to be honest. This is only 10 strategies, so, once I get this up to maybe 20 strategies in the future, I think this will be really nicely suited out, at least on correlation side of things. Now let's take a look at the NQ market overall this month. We can see, at least for me, this was just amazing. It was perfect volatility. We had a nice up range. We had a huge fade day, which was December 18th. And then we had a couple, a rebound and then basically fade off again, which provided a lot of volatility for all my strategies. And for a good amount of it, a lot of it was very directional, at least intraday, which my strategies really just do amazing on. So that's been amazing to see. Now, for my overall notes that I kind of noted down just before recording this, obviously, as you know, I did around 37.99% with maximum drawdown of 9.12%. Overall, it was 498 trades placed across all my 10 strategies. Now, I actually do have 11 strategies live, but only 10 strategies actually took trades. My best performing strategy was 10.82% with a 6% drawdown, which is I'm pretty pleased with. And then the other one that I'm actually quite happy with was a 5.36% return with a solid Sharpe ratio of 0.88, which is, it's still not perfect Sharpe ratio. And I am personally, at least currently, I don't know if this will change. I'm not 100% sure if it's forward thinking, at least from looking at other quant traders. But personally, I'm more about diversification of the overall portfolio rather than the maximum Sharpe ratio of each particular strategy. Overall, as I'm kind of saying, I'm very happy with my diversification at the moment. Before, I was only running 3 to 5 strategies, I guess, and that was maybe 7 months ago. So I'm really happy with how I can kind of continue to up the amount of strategy counts, and also most importantly, they're uncorrelated for the most part. Also, I will say I'm very pleased that I've kept my maximum drawdown under 10% for this month, especially with a 37% return, or I guess 38. I would have been happy really up to like maybe 15% drawdown, give or take. So under 10, I'm very happy with. So there are a couple things I do want to improve on. I do think there's a decent amount of variation in trade frequency across the strategies. Now, obviously, that comes with diversification. You don't want all, swing strategies. You don't want all intraday strategies. You don't want all same time frame strategies, etc. But I do think if I can try and get some of my trade counts down lower, that can just get away a lot of the commission costs. Obviously, I've been looking for different brokerages and things like that as well. However, I do think if you could try and maximize the amount of return, at least per trade, if that makes sense, I would prefer to aim for that. Doesn't mean I'm like over optimizing just for that one direction, but I think it's the way that I want to kind of continually go. I will say my overall portfolio shop does definitely need some work. I will say I need to improve on my Sharpe ratios for the whole portfolio overhaul. So I'm going to try and increase those over time. But as I've kind of mentioned, this is more of a sidestep. It's not something that I'm 100% focused on, just because I think diversification and more uncorrelated strategies is just going to overall boost my returns more than trying to increase Sharpe ratios on every particular strategy. Going forward, it's kind of the standard sort of things I'm going to do. I'm going to review allocation on lower performing strategies. Now, obviously, this is only 1 month of sample, but I have had one strategy now in this particular portfolio that's been sort of underperforming for around 3 months. So I'm going to try and see if my allocation on that could maybe be even lowered even further and introduce something else instead of it. But I'm not 100% certain of that, so I need to kind of look through more data on that side of things. Maintain my current diversification approach, so just keep on researching new strategies, keep on looking at different ways to add more strategies to the portfolio. I'm considering increasing allocation to a couple of the strategies. Now, I will try and stay very true to the rule of you never want to over allocate when times are really good. While obviously you want to try and increase position size during that time, if you over allocate when times are good, it will definitely bite you in the ass once times change. So I'm not going to try and over leverage up or anything like that, but I might slightly increase allocation to some of them. As I noted before, I had a big win with a short position on NQ on December 18th, which caused a good majority of these sort of returns, almost 0.5% of the returns just came from that one day. And I will say that is pretty atypical for my portfolio. For most of the past months, it's been very consistent. Obviously, there'll be some strategies that perform really good out of the whole portfolio, but it's never like one day makes up a lot of the portfolio gains. So I'm going to kind of look into that more. I'm a bit scared if I'm over-correlated in that sense, because 6 out of 10 were located short. Which could have been lucky timing, but I want to look more into that just to make sure I'm not over-correlated in every area. Now, lastly, for crypto, which was pretty insane, I won't lie. Crypto was a welcome surprise in December. I made more on crypto than my futures portfolio, which with crypto's volatility, I guess to some extent can be expected, but at least for me, when I was coming into December, obviously in November I was paying attention to crypto more, but in December I did not think it was gonna, overtake my futures portfolio, at least in percentage wise. So this was a huge surprise and it was just very impressive to see. Now, I will be, the first one to admit it was definitely not fully skill based. I made some good systems, I guess, for crypto, but a lot of it was just setting it live and also being very lucky with timing, and then also working with some amazing traders in the crypto space. I've been incredibly blessed to be able to know them and even, get advice from them. So by no means is this expected, but for transparency, I did trade crypto this month, and some of it went really well. You can see I suffered some drawdown here, but then recovered. This was primarily hype for this particular thing, the coin hype here, Hyperliquid, recovered a lot of this, so it was pretty impressive to see. But that was my month. How did your month go? Let me know in the comments. I have opened up the backtest bootcamp again. If you want more info on that, you can look at my previous video. It kind of goes over it a bit more. I'll leave the link at the top of the description if you are interested. It's primarily just if you want to gain the skill of backtesting. I'm not trying to do any classic, trading course. It's really not that. It's about teaching you a skill that I found very valuable in my own trading journey. Obviously, you need multiple skills in trading to actually be successful, but it's one skill that has been, pivotal in my own journey, which is being able to test strategies and actually know which ones are more likely to perform on live markets. Apart from that, I hope you have a great rest of your day,